Welcome everyone to Fasting Space. It's really joy to have you here today. Now focus on taking back our power from a nefarious force that we call fear. I don't know if you relate to fear, if you don't feel afraid, hopefully not. Hopefully everybody's safe in this situation, but fear is an insidious force. It is something that can sneak its way into our life and affect us in the short term, something imminently dangerous. We say we're aware of fear and very unpleasant. But sometimes fear is just running in the background, and it can masquerade as other sorts of things. Maybe we were fearful at some place, and we never, in the remote past, and we never fully released that. And now we are acting out of fear. Maybe that fear has morphed and is shifted over into other areas. Today, we're going to take a deep look at it. We're going to try to dig down and take back our power from it. It can be like a parasite is leeching off our energy, right? If we're trying to move forward in health, we're trying to build the most powerful, thoughtful mindset to move in a direction of love and light. We do not want to be living in fear. I was thinking of our discussion yesterday. From the obstacle is the way, they were listing these virtues, and the one that just stood out to me was courage, right? And I was thinking a lot about courage, that we want to be moving forward powerfully. Courage is like, it doesn't mean that there is never fear. It doesn't mean that we have, perfect certainty about what is happening. Of course we don't. But it is taking action in the face of it. And this is what we're trying to say. The obstacle is the way. If there are things that we are afraid of, like, let's commit together today. Like, we are not running away from them anymore. We are moving toward them and facing them. And that's how we diminish and ultimately overcome any fear that is holding us back from what we really want. That's what I'm wanting everybody to dig deep on. Take some space. That's hopefully what we're doing here. Bring some awareness to what we are doing, as much awareness as we can. We say, what do we really want? Who is this person here? And then what does it mean to be that person in this moment? This is what we're trying to figure out, right? Bring it down into this day as we try to center ourselves here in this moment. What does it mean to be here now in this space? What does it mean to take back the power that we might be sending in directions that we're not even aware of? We're going to gain insight on this from really, I thought, a very thought-provoking passage from this book, The Mountain Is You, which I'm loving going through. I read this passage a couple days ago, and I just had to sit with it a while. I know for me, I really, had to do some thinking, and I realized, oh man, some actions that I'm taking that I thought were one thing, really just fear. I'm acting out of fear. Grab a coffee, grab a tea, let's hang out. I got some chill music on, which the idea to me, this is like a coffee shop. Let's hang out. Let's talk about health and wellness. Let's dive in on some of this thinking. And I like to think of music like this, just a little gentle something. It's just like the water kind of dissolve away some stress. That's what I like. I put a link to this artist in the description. If you like some chill stuff like this, you check out this guy. How are you doing today? Let me know. Say hi in the chat. I hope you are well. If you're coming through on the replay, say hello. And in the comments, let me know how you are. And let's dive into this section on fear. Brianna Weist says to us, when we cannot stop returning to fearful thoughts, it's not always is because there is an actual threat in front of us. Often it is because our internal response systems are underdeveloped or sidelined by trauma. And we've gone into that place quite a number of times. We say traumatic things happen. Okay, they can be big time traumas. They can be small traumas, something that happened recently, something that happened a long time ago, even when we were a little kid, right? Or when we are extra vulnerable, right? And then we can carry that with us. Do we even realize that actions we're taking now might be rooted in fear ultimately? When we are in a state of fearful thinking, doesn't matter what we are afraid of. The thought process follows us from problem to problem. Often there's a metaphor encoded within it. For example, we might be afraid of a loss of control or some external force coming in and unraveling our progress, right? So I thought that was very interesting. Like we think, okay, I'm afraid of something. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of spiders. I'm afraid of whatever. Okay, afraid of a loss of control, right? Like this, you can see how they're saying, okay, that can cross domains, that can cross places. Something like that can follow us around. Do you feel that way? Or have you ever felt that way? We like to be in control, right? We at least like to feel that way. Regardless of what the fear is, they say, chronic fearful thinking often comes down to feeling the need to focus our energy and attention on a potential threat so that we can protect ourselves from it. Imagine that if we are worried, anxious, or angry about something, no, they say we imagine that if we are worried, anxious, or angry about it, that it will remain within our awareness and therefore it can't surprise us and we can retain some control over it. Isn't that interesting? This is one of the things that really got me thinking, about my own life deeply, that is like, we've asked that sometimes, right? Like, why do we do the things that we do? Like, why do we also return to cycles of things where you say, I'm not gonna make that choice anymore, then yet I do, right? Have you struggled with something like that? Is there fear at the root of something like that? Could be when we need to focus our energy and attention on something. We're perceiving a threat. Remember, so much of our body systems, right? The fight or flight, all these things that we're trying to bring into balance, like trying to protect us from threats. And if we have a history, some trauma that is still sitting in there, these negative emotions that we went through earlier this week, like all these things that are giving us clues, there's some deep work that we need to do so that we can resolve something and come to a state of peace. Finding that internal state of peace where the body actually is getting the message, you are actually safe. Like, do you see that is setting aside the fear? We're moving beyond the fear or coming to peace with these things so that we can move forward in health. I'm just seeing so much. Being in a fearful state is not a healthy state. Okay? See, we are imagining that if we keep hanging on to that fear, maybe we keep control of it, right? Maybe nothing bad happens. Maybe by worrying enough about it. Like, are we actually controlling it? Probably not. I was sitting with this a lot and saying, of course, it's okay to plan for things. There's, of course, let's think of a line between worrying about things and planning, right? Of course, having a plan is a very thoughtful thing to do. But worrying over something is like sending the energy into the fear, right? And this is something that we cannot do. Well, I say it's something, maybe it wouldn't be our best choice. I say no rules, right? But we don't want to be worried or anxious or angry. Ultimately, isn't it the case, they say we worry about things because we want control over them? Isn't it the case that it leaves us in a less powerful position, actually? They say here, the very act of holding these fearful thoughts within our minds is exactly how the fear is controlling us in the first place. I found that like really, stuff like this, like I say, this book is like a mirror. It can tell you things like you don't like to see it. Sometimes you look in the mirror, you say, mirror doesn't lie though. And it's like we don't want to be controlled by something, right? This is the thing. We worry, we are fearful about something because we think that gives us control. But then we see that these thoughts, the fearful thoughts, end up controlling us. Do you see the loop? It's like we end up being controlled out of fear, not a joyful, positive way to move forward. It seems like because we can be controlled by fear, say it's derailing our lives right now. It's like, oh man, do you feel that way? Is there something like, do you ever feel derailed in life? Like, oh, this force is just pushing me off my track. I keep wanting to go, but then getting off track. Right? Is it actually fear derailing? We're trying to have control. I can see this. Do you see it? We're trying to have control. We worry about things because we feel like that's giving us control over it. But then it's taking all that energy that we're putting into it, and it's using that energy against us. So where does the energy come to derail it? We're giving it to it in many times. We're trying to move forward on a health path. But then we worry. What does that actually look like? When we change, like, okay, we've got certain practices that we use because we're coping with these emotions, right? This is why we're going through all these different emotions. How do we come to peace with these emotions, invert them, see the good and spring out of them, like our talk about the trampoline? Fear might be the king one, right? That really is at the core of what can so often keep us from moving forward, keep us in a loop. Because we are channeling our energy into something that is out of our control, ultimately, as opposed to using it for everything that is actually within our control. That's how the derailing function works. We take the energy that we should be putting into our habits, our actions, our behaviors, the things that would actually move us forward, right? Very hard. We've said we're trying to be healthy in an unhealthy culture. We're trying to make decisions in a consumption culture that says I don't need to consume for a while. Right? That's the fasting space. Consumption culture says you got to keep consuming all the time or something bad is going to happen. Do you see the fear in it? Like, you are weak. You if you don't get this energy in right away, like the body is going to be damaged. Like, you got to be afraid of that. Like, you better buy my product quick. You got to move beyond fear into the habits and actions that can move forward against that. To say, no, actually, I am strong. I have energy and power here. I am not dependent on you, and I'm not afraid. that is fasting as an empowering mindset, or take it to any practice that is your health practice. That's the exercise path, right? To say, like, I am moving this body in the most beautiful way, and I'm using this energy that is within me. You can't stop me, you know? A powerful, courageous mindset. Whatever your path toward weight loss and health is, if it's just choosing the healthiest food, see, it's the same mindset. We are in this culture that is overwhelmed by synthetic processed foods that is actually harmful. I say we should probably stop calling a lot of this stuff even food. You know, if something can be eaten and you say, well, it tastes kind of good, but it is actually slowly poisoning the body, we should stop calling that a food. Food has got to give energy to the body and health and nourishment, okay? So any of these choices, these are all of our health practices. They're all the same ultimately, right? They're things that are bringing health and flourishing into the body, a space in the mind for deep contemplation on things like this. Is fear ultimately underlying the actions that I am taking, or derailing me from taking the actions I need to take? And can we confront it? Here, a double underline this one. In this sense, what we are afraid of is really a projection of what is already happening. That's because it's a loop, right? We fear the thing. We worry about it, try to control it. It starts controlling us, shaping our behavior into the very thing we don't want. The fear manifests the thing that we're afraid of. Like, oh man, that is a nasty circle. We want to turn that whole circle around. See, when we let go of the fear, when we overcome it, when we courageously confront it and move through it, we reverse that whole cycle. Then we take all the energy that we were sending into fear, we take our power back, we move through the cycle in the positive direction, bringing all our energy to the positive. We create the positive instead of creating the fear. That's what they say here. The only true way to get over a fear is to actually get through it. Instead of trying to battle, resist, and avoid what we can't control, we learn to say that if it happens, it happens. Okay, to me, that's acceptance. We accept the often difficult reality that in this life, things do happen, okay, that are beyond our control. They say the second that we are able to shrug, laugh, throw our hands up, say whatever will be, or I say it even at least to simply accept it, we take back all of our power from it. Do you think that's true? Can you feel that that's true? To stand in a space and say, I will not be afraid of this anymore. And then to courageously take the steps, even if you don't really believe it. Let's explore this thought. Even if you didn't really believe it, you say, no, I am still afraid. But I see that this fear is controlling me. To take the step that you would take if you weren't afraid of it. Isn't that what courage is? And now all of a sudden you took the step that you would have taken, is like creating action and evidence that you actually aren't afraid of it, that you're moving through it. Isn't that what it's like to actually move through it? That the obstacle becomes the way, right? What keeps the fire of fear raging is the idea that if we accept what we are afraid of, we are giving in to the worst potential outcome. The truth is that when we stop being afraid of what we cannot control and know instead, that nothing can possibly ruin our lives more than we are ruining them with our negative, distracted, and irrational thinking. Oh man. Marie, hello, good morning. How are you today? Welcome. Nice to hear from you. I was fearful of even trying to fast or lose weight because I've failed so many times. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you for sharing that. That is, I will tell you, you are not alone in feeling that way. It's a very, very common and big barrier, you know? Really happy that you found your way here to it, and I hope that this mindset is helping you to approach it in a thoughtful way, so that you can not be overwhelmed by anything. Move gently toward it. Sink into the practice in a way that leads to great success. That's what I am sending out in my thoughts for you. They conclude this section. When we stop being afraid of what we can't control, we are completely freed. And that is what I want for all of us. I don't know if I made an actual video on it, but I've brought that idea into some of these discussions. Fasting is freedom. That is like the dietary freedom. That's a total inversion. Fasting, I think, in society seen as a total restriction, and people use negative words like oh, this person is starving themselves, or it is like looked down upon in some way. All right, when we see something like this in any space, to say a process that helps us to stop being afraid, to embrace a spirit of openness, and to start trusting the body deeply and realizing the strength and power of it, is tapping into like a core metabolic space of the human system that is both a body and a mind. I use words like openness. I just say fasting is openness. There's a whole spectrum of a fasting process. Someone I was talking to yesterday said it isn't just one thing, you know? It isn't just, oh, it's 16-8, it's OMAD, it's some longer thing. Like, no, we can micro fast this all the way down into tiny little bits. It's a concept. It's a mindset more than anything. And the mindset that it is to me is taking our power back. I love that phrase. Take the power back. Society has said we have to consume our way to health. We have to buy expensive products that are risky. For your whole life, you'll never be free of it. Okay? It's like subscribing to health as a service, like a Netflix. It's like we're just renting health. I don't want people renting health, okay? Take any product you need. Talk to your medical team, okay? But the spirit that feels, to me, is like, let's take our power back. I don't want people to have to be dependent on anything. Not on any sort of food product, not on anything. It's like finding power within ourselves and strength. Not afraid of anything. Not living in fear in any way. This is the last two sentences of this section. When we are in full acceptance, fear leaves our consciousness and it becomes a non-issue. It is at this point that we realize that it always was. Who said that? Nothing to fear but fear itself, right? I should know who said that. Nothing to fear but fear itself. When we fully accept it, okay, it dissipates. See, when we fight it, when we are fighting, and so many things in life are this way, when we are fighting something, we are sending into our energy into it, is so often That's like what supports it and keeps it going, okay? When we accept it, okay? See, we're taking our power back. We're not feeding into it. And what's supporting that fear anymore? There's nothing supporting it anymore. That's how it can dissipate. To me, whether you call it just an analogy or you say this is the reality of it, here we are, fasting space. We're looking at fasting space in the body. You know, fasting space can dissolve a lot of things. See, here we're trying to take our power back, dissolve fear in a space, say a mental, emotional space. Just like what we're trying to do physically in the body, we're trying to dissolve a lot of stuff in the body. See, there's extra energy here, whether that's blood sugar, it's body fat, just opening up a space. See, there's something here that we say, I don't want this, you know? I want the number on the scale to go down, right? There's energy here. It's like, let's give the body space to use it. Think about the parallel between these two concepts. We're sending our energy into fear through worry, anxiety, anger. We're not living in the present. We're saying, what if this happens in the future? What if I feel a certain way? Okay? But then, like we're saying, then we accept it. Say it's okay. The phrase I like the most, say everything is okay. Like kind of even when it's not, like because say we could argue about it, someone have a discussion, look, things are not okay. Like look at all of the bad things in the world that we can get overwhelmed by. But then we accept it. We say, no, actually everything is okay. I am okay. We find a space in the midst of the storm, right? Everything that is happening, right? Grounded, centered, finding peace and contentment here in this moment, in our tiny little bubble, and saying, isn't this the way? Not that we are not aware. It's like not ignorance is bliss, right? It's not like we're trying to just pretend that the world is any different than the reality of how it is. But we are creating a space for ourselves in the midst of it, our barrier, right? Our fortress, like the line. That's where we're saying where anger, remember the other day we were saying what is the positive side of anger? Whereas creating our boundaries. Okay, so we have our boundaries, a protected space so that in the midst of all of these things that we can actually move forward in health. This is what we want to do. When we are worried about every part of the future and we are sending our energy to it, okay, we want to take that back, collect it, protect a health space for us so that we can move forward in the healthiest way. And then isn't that the type of space that from a space like that is grounded, centered, connected, courageous, overcoming fear of anything else, isn't that the type of powerful mindset that could actually make the most difference in the world with all of the negative things? Like instead of being worried and overwhelmed and paralyzed by them, that we actually take our power back, center ourselves, that we can actually explode out from that and just send love and light out and make, like if we can make any difference in our tiny little lives in the great sea of confusion that is modern existence, don't you have to do it from a position of health and strength, you know? And so I say, we'll take our power back from any kind of worry or anxiety for ourselves, and we accept those things about the future that we cannot control so that we can actually live in the present and actually find contentment here. The space of contentment is how you find a sustainable process. Remember Atomic Habits telling us, don't worry so much about the goal, you know? Kind of have an aspirational vision, say, I'm going to climb that mountain. But the important thing is to bring things into the present. And doesn't pretty much every philosophy teach this? Because isn't this some of the deep human wisdom that is passed down for millennia to just live in the present moment? To find peace and contentment here, when we can find that, a way of being that is actually at peace and centered. This is the process of how we actually flow toward a goal. So many people, tell me if this is your experience, trying to punish themselves toward better health, brutalize yourself in the gym, even if you don't like it, okay? And people can do that, and you can keep up. Like people can keep up for a very long time with a process that that isn't nice, okay? And all that can work until you reach a breaking point, right, of some kind. Whether that's a physical injury, whether that's the gym, right? If you're putting all your eggs in the gym basket and you haven't done the mental work and the dietary work or anything else, and then there's an injury, then things can really go sideways, right? The path that is sustainable is the path that is joyful, positive, and content, where we're not acting out of fear, where we're acting out of joy and love and positivity, right? So I tell people, if you're not in a space like that, like I say, just wait. I think it's better to wait and do nothing than to ever try to force your way into something that doesn't feel good, especially a fasting process. I want a fasting process. The words to me that resonate, curious is a good one. You know, it's like, what is this really like? Can I really do this? Like, just like an open-minded exploration of like the potential of the body. Like to say like, oh, like, seems like people can actually do this. Like, I didn't know. I didn't even know for the longest time. Not a minute spent on it in medical school. You know what I mean? It was like, I didn't know. Patients fast when they go to the lab to get their cholesterol checked. That's the only time I hardly ever even heard it mentioned, you know? We don't even use the word in medicine. Someone has to be NPO, nothing by mouth. Like, is someone's fasting prior to a surgery. You know, you got to have so many hours so that the stomach can be emptied so there's not an aspiration risk. Okay? But we don't say, oh, let's have the patient fasting for that. We just say, oh, they're NPO. It's like we even try to keep that word out of things as much. I just think that's very interesting. Take the power back of this process. Fasting, a word, has been part of human experience for thousands of years. I think we need to reintroduce ourselves. That's part of taking the power back, is to realize like, hey, there is strength and power here, even in this word and in this practice. And because it's powerful, should be approached so thoughtfully and, curiously, positively, joyfully. If you're not feeling that, hey, maybe it's a different path for you today or for this season. These things can come and go in seasons. There are different seasons for different health practices. And it's not that it has to line up like with, it's not just one thing. I'm just saying for each person, right? We have seasons of life where we flow through different spaces. So see where that season is for you. I think those are my thoughts on fear today. I think those are my thoughts on taking the power back. I will be reflecting on this today, as this has kind of been the big theme of my week, has been like, I'm gonna be done with that. Let's all be done living in any type of fear. Let us resolve ourselves, do some deep thinking, find the places, the spaces in our lives where, okay, if there is an action that we are taking, if there is a situation where we are feeling stuck, let's try to look in there and see if there isn't something we are afraid of that we haven't realized that is underlying that. And that can be a big unlock. If we bring to our awareness something that we are actually afraid of, that we didn't realize it. And we can accept it, come to peace with it. All of a sudden you might find what was previously a struggle, decisions that were a struggle, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not such a big deal, right? Because I don't have to be afraid of it. This is why we are trying to get to these root levels. Remember, we're trying to get to a state where the practices and the habits that actually help us move most powerfully forward are actually the easiest to do. Where we want to do them, where it's a joy to just flow through them like a river flowing through the canyon, that this is just what happens, the flow state. I think it's this deep kind of emotional work. We find if that's not happening, if you're not experiencing a flow to health decisions that is like carrying you on the path, if you're not in that space, these are the practices to actually get there. To open up a thoughtful, contemplative space is ask deep questions like, what am I really afraid of? That is holding me back and derailing the process. I hope that thought can be helpful on your health journey. Thank you for sharing this space with me today here. Do some deep thinking on this section, and you can come back to it and come back in the comments. Do you identify things like this, that fear that has been taking you off a course, derailing? Feel free to share, and we can talk about it in the comments as we go forward. Really loved that thinking, and I will look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, everybody.